A long black car turns onto the main street of a town that swore it would never see you again. Every head on the sidewalk turns. Nobody knows who's inside yet, but they feel it's someone. Then the door opens, and you step out, slow, calm, home. It takes them a second to place your face, and then the whispering starts. The kid this town wrote off 5 years ago just came back, and not on a bus this time. Somewhere in this crowd is every single person who once watched you fall apart. The ones who laughed, the ones who left, the ones who swore you'd never be anything. And right now, not one of them knows what to do with their hands or their face. You waited 5 years for this exact look on their faces. You should feel like a king. But something about it already feels emptier than you ever imagined it would. To understand why, you have to rewind 5 years. To the morning you left with nothing. Same street, same small sky. A completely different you. Back then, this town had already decided how your story ended. Badly. So, let's start there. On the day you had nothing but a bag and a promise no one believed. 5 years ago, you walked out of here broke. Not quietly broke, loudly, publicly broke. The little house behind you wasn't yours anymore. The bank took it that cold winter. You carried your whole life past people who used to wave and now just stared. In a town this small, your failure isn't private. It becomes the week's entertainment. You tried to build something here. You told everybody first. That was your mistake. The shop you swore would change your life sat dark, with your name on the lease and the debt. The girl you loved stopped answering the exact week your account hit zero. You saw her later on someone else's arm and understood everything you needed to. Your friends, the ones who ate at your table, suddenly all had somewhere better to be. The last time you asked one of them for help, he looked at you like you were contagious. The bully from school, now a big fish in a small pond, made sure to remind you. He told you, laughing, that people like you don't leave. You just die here, quietly. The only one who still believed in you was your mother, and belief was all she could afford. She pressed the last of her cash into your hand and told you not to argue about it. You promised you'd come back and make it right. You didn't fully believe it either. At the bus stop, you said 6 words to no one. I am not staying down here. You got on the bus with holes in your shoes and a plan you couldn't back up yet. And you watched the only town you'd ever known shrink to nothing in a dirty window. You didn't cry. You did the math instead. 5 years. That was the number you gave yourself. 5 years to turn a laughingstock into a name they would have to say carefully. The city swallowed you whole the second you stepped off that bus. But the city has one mercy the town never did. Nobody here knew you were supposed to fail. So you worked. Jobs that wrecked your back and paid for a mattress on a cold floor. Double shifts. Cheap food. A room the size of a closet with a window facing a wall. And every night after the shifts, you built the thing nobody back home believed in. It failed. Then it failed again. Then it failed in a brand new, humiliating way. The one thing that kept you upright was a small, ugly, useful feeling. Prove them wrong. And then, quietly, somewhere in year 2, one thing you built simply stopped failing. A little at first, then steady. Then faster than you let yourself believe. 1 yes became 10. 10 became a room full of people who actually worked for you. The thing this town laughed at became the thing serious people paid serious money for. You upgraded slowly. Better clothes. A quiet apartment high above a city that once ignored you. You had made it. Really made it. And you kept waiting to feel finished. You never did. There was exactly one place on earth where this money still meant something. So you buy the car. Not for the city, not even for you. For one specific drive. The road back is shorter than you remembered. Or maybe you're finally ready for it. You don't call ahead. You don't warn a soul. You just point the car at the past and drive. A green sign appears. The name of the town that raised you and then wrote you off. Your chest does something complicated as the first familiar rooftops come into view. Nothing changed. Same shops. Same cracked sidewalk. Same small patch of sky. You roll down the street where you once waited for a bus with holes in your shoes. The first person to recognize you nearly walks straight into a lamppost, doing it. You park in the exact spot where you last stood as the town's favorite failure. For a moment, nobody moves. The whole street just quietly recalculates. Then a phone comes out. Then another. Then the town's oldest machine starts up. Gossip. In 10 minutes, everyone knows. The boy who failed is back, and he came back loaded. And now you get to watch the same people meet a very different version of you. First, the man who fired you, who told you that you'd never amount to a thing. 5 years ago, he made you beg to keep a job, then let you go before winter anyway. Now he wipes his hand on his shirt 3 times before he dares to offer it to you. He calls you son warmly now. Back then, he never once bothered to learn your name. You shake his hand. You say nothing cruel. The car in the window says plenty for you. Then her, the girl who stopped answering the week your account hit 0. For 5 years, you rehearsed this exact moment 1,000 different ways in your head. And here it is, and you watch something turn over behind her eyes in real time. Suddenly, she remembers your name like the chorus of a song she used to love. She says maybe you two gave up too soon. Maybe the timing was just wrong. And it lands clean and cold. She isn't looking at you. She's looking at the car. Then the friends, the ones who found better plans the second you had nothing to offer. Now they cross the entire street to reach you, arms wide, smiles enormous. One already has a can't-miss business idea. He just needs a small investment to start. 5 years of total silence, and the very first word out of his mouth is a number. You nod, slowly. You remember precisely who vanished when there was nothing to gain. Then the neighbor who told your mother, to her face, that you were a lost cause. The same man now stands up straight the second your shadow crosses his lawn. You were a kid when he called your family trash. You never forgot. He clearly did. Then the teacher who read your future out loud and made it very, very small. People like him don't leave this town, she said once, to a whole room of kids. About you. Now she tells the local paper she always saw a rare fire in you back then. You don't correct her. Being underestimated was the cleanest fuel you ever had. Then the smug, local big shot who laughed and promised you'd die here, quietly. He doesn't laugh today. He asks, very carefully, what line of business you're in now. You give him a small, quiet answer. His whole face does the math and comes up short. Then the shopkeeper who once refused your mother credit for a bag of groceries. Now he runs out to greet you, wondering aloud if you'd ever invest in local business. By afternoon, the entire town has quietly rewritten the whole story of you. People who looked straight through you for years keep finding reasons to say hello. You are the exact same person who sat at that bus stop. The only new thing is the car. Dinner invitations pile up. Old best friends resurface. A long line of open hands. And behind every warm smile runs the exact same quiet question. What can you do for me? You waited 5 whole years for this town to look at you exactly like this. And now that it finally does, the feeling you expected just isn't there. They aren't proud of you. They're proud of the number they think you're worth. The people cheering the loudest right now are the ones who kicked the hardest back then. So you do something the loud town never expects. You go quiet and you go looking. But for the 2 or 3 faces that were kind to you when kindness paid nothing, the ones who fed a broke kid and never once mentioned it again. There's a little diner on the corner that time forgot, faded sign and all. A waitress here used to feed you when your pockets were completely empty. She'd slide you a plate and call it a kitchen mistake. Every single time. For months. She doesn't clock the car outside. She just lights up the way she always did. She doesn't ask what you drive or what you're worth. She asks if you've been eating enough. And after a whole day of open hands, that one simple question nearly takes you apart. Then the old mechanic who fixed your mother's car for years and never sent a bill. He treated a broke kid like he mattered back when the whole town said he didn't. He shakes your hand, glances once at the fancy car, and asks only if you're happy. And then, of course, your mother. Who believed you when belief was a luxury she couldn't afford? The one person who was proud of you long before there was a single reason to be. She doesn't care about the car in the driveway. She cares that you finally came home. 3 people in a town of hundreds. 3 who were real when it cost them to be. So you make a set of choices the loud town will never get to see or clap for. The waitress who fed you finds her rent handled for the next 10 years. No name attached. The old mechanic finds the debt on his shop simply gone. No note, no headline, no photo. You don't hand any of it over in front of a crowd. A crowd would make it about you. Meanwhile, the people who came for the car wait at a fancy dinner you never show up to. You let them wonder. Their warmth was never really yours to keep anyway. The smug big shot's grand investment pitch goes unanswered. He finally understands. The friend who led with a number gets a polite, final, unmistakable no. And the girl who saw the car instead of you gets to keep looking at the car. You spend your last evening with the 3 people who loved the broke version of you. No performance, no audience, just the faces that showed up when the room was dark. The next morning, you leave the same way you came, quiet. No speech, no goodbye tour. They'll say the money changed you. It didn't. It just finally showed you them. Coming back rich didn't prove you to the town. It quietly proved the town to you. You came back to make them respect you. You left knowing whose respect was ever real. So here's the question. If you came back with everything, who would you actually come back for?